Hey, what's up? My name's Caleb. I'm a full-time reseller. Today I'm going to be going over all the items in my store that sold for over $40 in the month of January. That way you know the high profit items to be on the lookout for. Let's jump into the screen and check it out. Make sure you stick around to the end to see the best item I sold in January. Jumping into this first item, we have a Peter Millar golf pullover. This one had a very performance-y material to it. So the modern styles in Peter Millar will sell for a bit more. Unless it's a nice outerwear piece, I'd really stay away from just the cotton stuff. But this performance-y material stuff can still sell well. This sold on an offer for $40 plus shipping. This next item are some Lululemon pants. These were like men's lightweight joggers. I used the style code on the pocket here to type that into a website called Lulu Fanatics, and it pulls up like the detail page. They have a backlog of all of the Lululemon like styles and colors and all that stuff, and these were the Great Wall pants. So because I had that model name and the model number, sold for a little bit more, 50 bucks. This next brand is definitely one to be on the lookout for. It's Stio, S-T-I-O. And here's kind of the logo, and they also have like a little, I think it's like an acorn logo. I think it's on the back. Yeah, this little acorn logo, or pine cone, a pine cone logo. Definitely be on the lookout for this brand. This was like a super lightweight windbreaker jacket, and it still sold for 50 bucks plus shipping. This next piece is an Eileen Fisher piece. I don't do a lot of women's items, but if I am just walking by and I see that Eileen Fisher tag, I am gonna look into it. And this one happened to be new without tags because it had this little rope here without the tag on it, and I actually found another one that was new with tags right behind it, so I could use the tag to get all the information for this item and get it perfect. I actually did put a stock photo. I don't recommend putting that as your first photo, but I do put it in as the second photo sometimes when, especially on like women's items, it's hard to know what it actually looks like on a person, and because I don't do a mannequin, I try to throw that in there just to give the buyer frame of reference, but I'm not trying to use that to market the item. Definitely do your research on eBay's policies about using stock photos so you make sure that you're not going to get any Veros. But yeah, either way, this sold for about 50 bucks and was honestly just a really nice piece. Happy to find it, especially in new condition. This next item is an LL Bean fleece jacket. I love finding the modern LL Bean pieces with the 6-digit item ID number because I can find the exact model name and sell it for more money. Tons of jackets like this that sell for like 30 bucks on eBay, but the ones that say Mountain Pile Sherpa Fleece, that's the actual model name. Those sell for a little bit more because you're getting the person that types it in to Google, and they see that the retail price is like $150 and they see yours right next to it for cheaper, and it's a very easy conversion. This sold for I think 40 or 45 bucks. Yeah, just kind of a basic item, but because of those keywords and the model name, able to sell it for a little bit more. I sold this vintage Nike jacket for 40 bucks. This was just kind of a basic windbreaker, but because it had this swoosh in the center of the jacket, I was able to use center swoosh as a keyword, and that is just a really hot keyword in the vintage Nike community. So I knew this would sell quickly, and I listed it a little bit higher than the comps because of that keyword, and it sold full price for 40 bucks. This next item is an Eddie Bauer jacket. It was canvas on the outside and had this nice buffalo plaid fleece lining. So I also put shacket and shirt jacket in the title just so I could hit all of those keywords. And I looked up with Google Lens, I think, actually on this one, and this was called the Voyager. So having this titled correctly and listed correctly was able to help me sell it for 40 bucks. This next item are some men's Citizens of Humanity jeans. It goes by C of H Man on the tag. They sold for 40 bucks plus shipping. This is the tag that I saw that kind of had me looking it up because I'd never seen that before. Then once I typed it into eBay, I saw that C of H was Citizens of Humanity, so I knew that these were probably going to be good. And it did have the style name here as well, so I was able to put that in there, and it's boot cut, which is definitely in style right now. So all those things combined together for a $40 sale. And you can see here that I listed it on December 22nd and it sold on January 7th. So you know, a little over 2 weeks to get that sold for full price. So that's awesome in my opinion. This next item are some Polo Ralph Lauren corduroy pants. The reason these ones sold so fast is because they're in this really bright purple colorway, and also has an amazing size of 32-34. And if you look here, they actually sold in one day, listed on January 28th and sold on January 28th. So yeah, nice $40 sale there. This next item are some Ariat FR jeans. They had a great size of 38-34, so the really long inseam helped these. These were the low-rise M4 boot cut. It says that right here in the back. So basically you just type this exact thing into eBay, and that's how you can get your comps and make sure it's listed correctly. And they sold for 40 bucks plus shipping. This next item are some Lululemon Bowline shorts. I actually got these on the Lululemon website for $19. When I looked it up, I thought that this might be a good flip, and it was. They were selling quickly for anywhere from $40 to $50. So I actually bought 5 pairs of all of the colors that they had available in the good sizes that were left. I didn't buy any smalls, and I didn't buy any like 3Xs, but I think there were some mediums and larges. So I bought 5 in each color that they had available, and I'm selling through those honestly pretty quickly. I just started listing them. It says January 19th on the screen here. So I'm less than a month in, and in just this colorway and size, I've already sold 3 out of the 5 that I got. So well on my way to making that a quick flip. Here's another Lululemon item, just some men's ABC chinos, size 38-32, sold for 50 bucks, and they sold same day. When I'm scrolling through the pants and I see just this like plain button and it has like a performance-y material, I'm always looking for that Lululemon logo. This next item, I was really happy it sold before winter ended, but here are some Under Armour snow pants. I picked these up because they had like a camo pattern, and they had the infrared kind of logo here on the inside, and this little striped thing on the inside is their infrared line. So I thought all those things added together, they just felt super high quality. They're waterproof, they were really nice, and they sold in 6 days for $45 plus shipping. This next item are some bed stew boots. I was really stoked to see these at my local Goodwill because I rarely find good shoes there. I think I paid like 15 bucks for them, and they sold quickly for $40. I sold these Polo Ralph Lauren chino pants for $45 plus shipping. These were new at tags, so I love finding Polo when it's new at tags. It honestly just seems to sell really fast for me. These sold really fast for full price, and how I got all of the information for like the style and the size was just right here on the inside pocket. This next item is a Patagonia Better sweater. It sold for $45 plus shipping. The reason I threw this one in here is because it sold even with this kind of tacky company logo on it. So sometimes if the item is really that good, I will just ignore the company logo. If it's just kind of a lower level or mid-tier item, I don't pick it up with the company logo. But obviously a Patagonia jacket, I'm gonna pick it up with that logo or without that logo. This next item is an LL Bean rain jacket. This was size XLT, so I knew that it would sell quickly, and it had that waterproof material, and this little TEK Tech line sells really well from them. So this sold for $45 plus shipping. Next item are these 511 Tactical Apex pants. These were new at tags. And they sold in like 8 days for $45. It actually was on an offer, $45 plus shipping. I was just really surprised these sold so quickly because 40 by 30 is not that great of a size in men's pants. But yeah, these sold really fast. Even used, I would pick these up because these are like the newer performance-y kind of stretchy model, the Apex pants. You can figure out the style code on the tag on the 511 Tactical pants, but because these ones were new at tags, it was just written on the tag. So it's easy for me to get all those details for the listing, but definitely a good pickup. If they were used, I definitely would be more picky about the size on these. These Lululemon pants sold for a bit more, $55 plus shipping. These were the Tech Canvas. When I typed in the style code, it kind of had like this, almost like a textured cotton to it. And you know, that's what they call the Tech Canvas. So because of that, it was able to sell for a little bit more money. These Salomon hiking boots sold for $45 plus shipping. The reason I was willing to take such a low offer is there actually was some separation on the toe here. And I did put that in the listing and put read in the title to try to get people's attention to know that there actually was a flaw with this, and did receive positive feedback from this sale. So obviously the person knew what they were buying. If these didn't have the separation, well over $100 boots. This next item is an Under Armour sweater. This was 100% merino wool and new at tags. There were no comps on this item whatsoever, but I just knew that Under Armour, new at tags, merino wool, this was going to be a good item. I listed it high, so I thought for 50 bucks plus shipping, and it sold full price, so can't really complain about that. This next item is a Grayson golf jacket. It had this quilted texture and camo print on the front. When I saw this, I knew it was going to be an amazing item, and this sold really fast. I think I got an offer of either 50 or 55, and I just accepted it because it sold in like a day. Here's the little logo that you're looking for. It's actually that little wolf is the logo, but they usually have the brand name put in the back of the collar, whether it's a polo or jacket or whatever. I paid up at the thrift store for this J. Crew jacket, but it was new with tags, and I typed in some of these keywords to eBay and saw good sales history, so I went ahead and picked it up anyway. And this sold for 50 bucks plus shipping, so happy to sell it really fast. Even though I'm still only making about 20 bucks on a $20 item, I'm okay with it because I was able to turn it so quickly. This sold in 5 days, listed on January 2nd and sold on January 7th. This next one is a fun one. These are some vintage Abercrombie & Fitch cargo pants. They sold for $54 plus shipping. I did have it on a 40% off sale because it had been sitting in my store for quite a while. These really can sell great if you get the right models, but there's so many of these models in the vintage Abercrombie cargos. Some of them are worth hundreds, some of them are worth 30, 40 bucks. I pick them all up when I see them, and I was honestly still happy to get 54 for these, even though they may have been worth a little bit more. I really can't complain turning maybe 5-10 bucks into over $50. I sold this Levi's military jacket for 50 bucks plus shipping. This one was new with tags, so it's kind of a no-brainer for me to pick it up, and it sold in 4 days. This next item is a fun one. It's a vintage Pittsburgh Steelers satin bomber jacket. Of course, when I saw this on the rack, I knew that this was going to sell quick and for good money. I think I paid about 15 or 20 bucks for this, and it sold in I think 8 or 9 days for a full price of $50 plus shipping. This next item I talked about in one of my recent videos, but these were some FootJoy Tour Collection waterproof pants. Anytime on one of the major golf brands you see this Tour Collection or Tour Series on it, it's definitely one you want to look up because a lot of times those are higher end models that players on tour wear or people that are really serious about golf wear. And it was the same with these pants. They had a ton of features. They were waterproof, the whole side zipped, so maybe that's so you can take them on and off on the golf course without having to take your pants off. But yeah, these sold for 50 bucks plus shipping, and they were only listed for 9 days. This next sale I definitely bought just off of a gut feeling. I really couldn't find anything about this brand, Monad Sport and Banff. I know that's a really popular place for skiing and vacationing in Canada. It did have a $180 retail tag and was vintage, so $180 from the 80s was probably a lot more than it is today. It was made in France. It had all these cool little details on it, but I couldn't find anything about it online. I think I paid $15 for this at the thrift store, and I ended up taking an offer of 50 bucks because I wanted to sell it this winter season. This next item is a vintage Carhartt. Kind of had this velour texture to it, and this was the tree bark camo. I used the tag here to get the tree bark keyword, and also this 769 was the style of jacket. So just from the tag I was able to get all the information I needed on this one. It was also made in USA. There was some damage around the collar, so I did list this one a little bit lower, but it still sold same day for 50 bucks plus shipping, so I still probably underpriced this one. This next item is a vintage polo jeans puffer jacket. This one was super puffy, and it was actually huge in person because it was just so jam-packed full of goose down. There was some discoloration on the shell of this jacket. I find a lot of times on the vintage puffers there's random dark spots and stuff, so I don't know what causes that, but because of that I listed this a little bit lower, and I ended up taking an offer of $55 plus shipping. If this was in perfect condition, it was probably about a $100 jacket. I sold this Duluth trading blazer for $50 plus shipping. I did list this one as new without tags because it still had this tag here with the button, and you definitely wouldn't wear that with that still attached, and it was in perfect condition. This was the Fire Hose presentation jacket. I used this little code here, 26514, to get all that information from Duluth website, and once I typed that in, I was able to list this at the top of the market and get it sold quickly for 50 bucks. This one was listed for 7 days. This next item is definitely a bolo. This is a vintage J. Crew oarsman fisherman sweater. That's just what they call it, even though it doesn't have that typical fisherman knit on it. But the thing that stood out to me on this is it has a roll neck, which is a really good keyword in sweaters, especially vintage sweaters, especially wool sweaters. So I was already picking this up without knowing all those extra keywords. But once I looked up J. Crew roll neck sweater, I saw on eBay that there were ones selling for like $100, $120, $75, and it ended up being the one that I had. I ended up taking an offer of $70 on this one, and it sold in one day. This next item is an LL Bean parka. This one was super long. As you can see on my board, like the edges are kind of poking out because this took up my entire like almost 6-foot board. Another reason this one sold for a little bit lower than some of the comps was that it was missing the hood. I had like 5 people message me and ask me if it still had the hood, which it did not. If it did have the hood, it was probably a $120 sale, but I was still happy to sell this for $80 plus shipping, and it sold in a little less than a month. This next sale were for some Cole Haan shoes. They had this like laser cut through it, so that's what kind of caught my eye at the thrift store, and I did some Google lensing to figure out that this was the Washington Grand Laser model. Once I found that out, I saw they were selling for really good money on eBay. So I listed mine high at $100. I ended up taking an offer of $80 plus shipping, and these were listed for about a month and a half. These Burton snowboard boots had really good comps, and just from looking at them, you could tell that they were like very technical, had a lot of features, and were just a really cool style. And they sold in 2 days for $80 plus shipping. Next item was a vintage starter jacket. This was the half zip pullover puffer jacket with the hood, and the team was Notre Dame Fighting Irish, and this sold in 10 days for a full price of $80 plus shipping. This next sale is a vintage Cabela's jacket. I'd call this a chore jacket because it had all these extra pockets on it. I also put in field and barn as extra keywords to try to get this sold to help find the right buyer for this item. And it was size 3XLT, so I knew that that was gonna really help the value as well. And it sold for $40 plus shipping and was only listed for 9 days. My very best sale of the month was this vintage Woolrich coat. I had this listed since October 20th. So yeah, this was listed for over 3 months, and I got so many lowball offers on this. I probably got 15 different offers on this item. There was nothing like this listed and nothing like it sold. The closest thing that sold was another vintage wool jacket that was like sold for like $300. So I just kind of picked my price at $250 because that felt like just reasonable based on other vintage jackets that had sold. I was just trying to predict what the most I could get for it was because there was nothing listed, and I knew that this was a relatively collectible piece because it's so unique with all the little features and leather patches and corduroy and wool and padding and plaid lining, and just it had all these cool things. So I just kind of held out, and honestly it was great timing that this sold for full price because I was just very close to taking a $100 offer. I hope you enjoyed, and some of that information helps you find big money items at the thrift store. We'll see you in the next one.